What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we're going to be taking a little bit of a look at a new rules roundup. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Another week, another bunch of rules. Now, these did come out on the 1st of April, which worries me a little bit. Are Transformers trolling us? Are some of these going to be not true because of April Fool's Day? No. They wouldn't do that to us. All the previous rules roundups, I've put links to videos about them in the description. I've done a video about each of them, and you can find a complete list in the description. So, with that out of the way, what are we going to talk about this week? Well, we're going to start off having a bit of a chat about Inferno Breath and Combiners. So, starting off with Inferno Breath then, this is one of those new things that we saw in Wave 2. It is an action card that lets you tap one of your untapped characters that has 5 or more stars, and then do free damage to an enemy. It's basically a way of guaranteeing free damage, as long as you got a character which isn't just stupid weak. You don't get to attack, but you get to do free damage, and if you didn't think your character was going to do free damage anyway, you know what? That's alright. So let's say you've got a team of combiners, let's say the Dinobots because they're my faves. And let's say that all of your opponent's characters are tapped, and then let's say that you've got one untapped character. So if you tap it with Inferno Breath at the end of your turn, there will be no attack. During your turn, you can play an action, play an upgrade, flip a character, then attack. But if you get to the end of your turn and all your characters are tapped, well, you've got to attack with an untapped character, so that's the end of your turn. But what happens if you play a Brainstorm that allows you to play 2 action cards, you play Inferno Breath, tapping your character, and then you play Dinobot Enigma? The answer is extremely simple. Even though you tap your last character to play Inferno Breath, you would then be able to attack, and the reason is Volcanicus starts untapped. I know, right? If we go to the wording of Dinobot Enigma, a combiner begins untapped, has all damage from the combined characters, and keeps 1 upgrade in each slot. So even though you should be ending your turn with no attack because you tap your final character playing Inferno Breath, playing Brainstorm lets you play Inferno Breath and then play Dinobot Enigma, at which case you form up into Volcanicus. This is, of course, going on the assumption that you've got the 5 requisite Dinobots and they're all in bot mode, at which point you get Volcanicus and it's untapped. So you now can attack at the end of your turn. Cool, right? As a side note, and we know this one, but it's nice to confirm, as with a lot of these ones, if I play Brainstorm, can I play the same action twice if I have 2 copies in my hand? Yes. Yes, you can. Obviously, you can't play it twice if you've only got 1 copy. That would be silly. What happens if you've got an Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend attacking? Bearing in mind, we should remind you that Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend, when you attack, after you flip your battle cards for attack, but before your opponent flips a defense, you may play one of the actions flipped, and you flip an Espionage and use it for the effect. Espionage, choose a battle icon color, then look at your opponent's hand, scrap a card from it that has a battle icon of that color. Now, to be honest, it doesn't matter what it does, it's got a green icon, and the answer is, can you add it to your hand at the end of the battle? Because green icons at the end of the battle, you get to look at the cards that you flip battling, and you get to swap a card in your hand for one of the green icon cards you flipped. But what happens if it's Espionage, and you've already used Espionage with Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend skill? Can you then bring it back with a green icon? Yes. Yes, you can. And the reason is extremely simple. Optimus Prime says after you flip battle cards, you may play one of the actions you flipped. And the green icon says you may put back one of the cards that you flipped into your hand, swapping it with a card in your hand. It is a card you flipped. You can use it as per Optimus Prime skill. You can put it into your hand as per it's got a green icon. They're both absolutely fine. You can roll. Yay! To put it another way, playing it with Optimus Prime Battlefield Legend does not preclude it from being added to your hand using its green icon. What about Dreadwing? Dreadwing is one of these combiners, and one of the cool things about Dreadwing, it can have 2 upgrades in each slot, which means it can have 2 Crash Landing. Crash Landing is an upgrade utility that can only be put on planes, and when the upgraded character is KO'd during your opponent's turn, you do damage equal to its attack total to a tapped enemy. So can you do 7 damage to 2 separate targets if you've got 2 crash landings attacked? Yes, you can, and the reason is they happen one at a time. Use the first crash landing, do 7 damage, that's resolved. Now we get to use the second crash landing, do 7 damage, now it's resolved. You can do them both to the same character, or you can do them to separate ones. Now, Streamroll, we have had some slightly conflicting reports, though they were a little way apart. But to make it 100% clear, Streamroll, and this would also be exactly the same for Grimlock, because Grimlock's ability and Streamroll are the same. The extra damage put across, so both of these, when you do enough damage to KO, but you do a bit more, the extra damage is redirected to a character of your opponent's choosing. It is not attack damage, which means that it would not be prevented by something like Force Field, because Force Field protects against attack damage, and similarly it would mean that Motor Master would protect against it, because Motor Master protects you from all non-attack damage. There we go. Streamroll, and by extension Grimlock, definitely not attack damage. Cool. Glad we got that cleared up. Similarly, Streamroll, what happens if you've played more than one Streamroll in your turn? Similarly, what happens if you've played Streamroll onto a Grimlock? Nothing extra. Because if we have a look at Streamroll, Streamroll says, choose one of your characters. When it does more than enough attack damage to KO an enemy this turn, your opponent chooses one of their other characters and puts the extra damage on it. Streamroll refers to the extra damage. Now, if it said an amount of damage equal to, or wording like that, then it could be moved over. But you are moving over the damage. So no matter how many Streamrolls you play, Streamroll number 1 is moving over the damage. Streamroll number 2 is moving over the damage. Streamroll number 3 is moving over the damage. You can't move over the damage more than once. It's like moving house. You can only really move from one house to another once, unless you're really weird. But you could move a particular chair multiple times. I feel like that analogy did not make things easier. Point is, no matter how many Streamroll you play, you're moving over the damage once, you're not doing it multiple times. Now, it's one we've talked about a few times, and certainly a lot of people have been pretty sure it works this way, but confirmation now officially from the lovely folks at Transformers HQ, Thrust and Grenade Launcher. Now, Thrust in ult mode, when one of your other characters attacks, you may tap Thrust, and if you do, the attacker gets extra attack equal to Thrust's attack. If you whack a Grenade Launcher on Thrust, your attack goes up to 7, which means when you tap Thrust of its ability, you would add 7 attack. No, Grenade Launcher does not get discarded. The reason Grenade Launcher does not get discarded is because Grenade Launcher gets discarded or scrapped when you attack. Thrust is not attacking, Thrust is using its skill. What about using Leap of Faith? Now, Leap of Faith lets you essentially play the top 2 cards of your deck. What if one of those cards is Superior Plating? Doesn't work. Superior Plating reads, play this only if you played Tech Research this turn. It does not bypass it. You can play Superior Plating, but as soon as you go to play it, you go, I've not played Tech Research. Now, if by coincidence the first card you play is Tech Research, using Leap of Faith, and the second one is Superior Plating, that works just fine. But if you flip Superior Plating and then Tech Research, it wouldn't work, it's in the wrong order. I'm sure we've gone through this before, but it's on the FAQ, so it's worth having a gander at. Now here's a really interesting one. We've got Air Raid, and Air Raid's got a really nice skill in bot mode. When this damages an enemy, scrap an upgrade on that enemy. Well, what if the enemy is a plane, let's say Sunstorm, because that's the example they use in the FAQ, and that plane has a crash landing attached? We talked about crash landing a moment ago. Does that mean that Air Raid damages, gets rid of crash landing, and it doesn't work? No. What happens is Air Raid attacks, KO Sunstorm, goes to scrap the crash landing, but that doesn't work. Sunstorm is BKO'd. It's not there. You can't scrap it. It's not there. Crash landing works nicely. The point here is very simple. If you KO with air raid, you cannot scrap the upgrade. It's too late. So something like crash landing that works on a KO will already go. And finally, a lovely little question. When playing best 2 out of 3, how do you decide who goes first in Game 2? And the answer is there are no official rules, but the suggestion is letting the loser of Game 1 choose who goes first in Game 2. And presumably that would also extend to the loser of Game 2 going into Game 3 choosing who goes first, unless the same player won Games 1 and 2. That is the way it works in every other card game, so it makes sense that it would work here as well. So there we go, ladies and gentlemen, another week, another lovely lot of rules updates. As always, give me your thoughts below in the comment section and make sure you email Wizards if you've got any questions yourself. Go nuts, ladies and gentlemen, but please do remember the rule. Be nice, and that extends to whether you're in the comment section or emailing Wizards. Be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, and follow me on Twitter at the Wossy, where we talk about Transformers and other games. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time. Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.